Brilliant. Moving on to other stories now. And we will, of course, have that story. Economic activities were almost grounded in some states in the southeastern part of the country today, following a stay-at-home order from the outlawed group, the Independent Peoples of Biafra. In Enugu and Anambra State, most stalls and shops in the towns visited by our correspondents were shut, while the major markets were completely deserted. But in Imo State, residents defied the order as business activities continued unhindered.
Like sounds and sights from the fringes, the indigenous people of Biafra, though not very visible in the manner consistent with their operations, issued directives asking everyone who believes in their pursuit to sit at home in commemoration of what they describe as a day in honor of men and women who died during the Nigeria Civil War. A quick check around locations in the southeast region of the country shows that the directive was heard and obeyed in some locations. Awka, the Anambra State capital, witnessed a non-effect of IPOB's directive. It's expected if security shows up. However, at the state secretariat, workers trickled in scanty numbers. The silence can almost be touched, but loud enough to provoke reactions from the head of service.
We are back to work today. Any worker who is not complying with that directive will have himself or herself to blame.
At Nkwo and Onitsha main market, the suspicion was real. No buyers, no sellers, deserted roads. Nnewi is the hometown of the former Biafra warlord, Odumegwu Ojukwu. Here, the compliance level is mixed, prompting this call for a deeper examination of the issues and agitations.
Government should do something fast. This thing happened last year. If they don't do anything and these IPOB people, come to see it that anytime they come for sit at home, that people will sit at home. It then means you are running two parallel government in Nigeria, and it's not good.
A drive across to Enugu around Ogui Road and Ogbete Main Market, some shops are on the lock and key, an indication of a partial compliance. We are told some arrest of insignia-bearing members of Biafra was made.
My attention was drawn that there are some group of people in front of Government House, the land building, wearing IPOB and Biafra Zionist movement flags. And I moved personally with some of my officers, and we arrested them.
In Imo State, there are no signs that the directive was heard, let alone obeyed. People carried on like another day of work and business after the national holiday to celebrate the Democracy Day. Head or tail, there are still signs and undertones of dissatisfied members of the Nigerian society who have continuously protested marginalization and denials.
The Kano State Governor has been speaking on the reasons behind the stoppage of the foreign scholarship offered to students in the state by the previous administration. According to Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, the offer is a waste of meager resources on a venture that does not have anything better than what home universities offer. The governor also denies claims by some members of the New People's Democratic Party, the NPDP, who allege marginalization by the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC.
We, majority of the new PDP, we are disclaiming their allegation, and we believe we have not been marginalized because the governor of Adamawa State is from new PDP. He is now a governor. Myself, I'm from new PDP. I'm now a governor. And so many others, legislators from new PDP, and they are not. They are now senators and members of House of Representatives. So I believe there must be something underground.
Thousands of our students were sponsored abroad,
and there was pronouncement that all the monies for tuition and upkeep were paid 100%, so that incoming governments may not face problems for the students in completing their studies. We discovered that that was not true. It was only the initial payment that was made. We discovered that some universities were not even offering the courses we were sending our students to.
Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. Let's quickly shift gears now to business news with Ann Wawado.
You First. First Bank.
Thank you, Gimba. We'll begin with Nigeria crude grade struggling for buyers at the international spot market due to an influx of U.S. grades from refineries in northwest Europe and the Mediterranean. And this is coming amid reports that repairs are ongoing at the Trans-Ramos pipeline, which feeds crude to the Forcados terminal, while sources at Shell Petroleum Development Company says a force majeure on exports of Bonny Light crude remains in place. In the meantime, traders are saying that a handful of cargoes still remain from Nigeria's low June loading program. Nigerians wishing to travel abroad for studies are being offered an education advisory service coming from a partnership between FCMB and an education service provider, the MOD Group. At the launch of the product in Lagos, FCMB's Executive Director of Retail Banking, Oluwakomu, says that customers will have access to many offers, including loans to support payment of school fees.
In this hall are management staff of FCMB, MOD Group and other guests here to witness the launch of another first from the bank.
Today's event is partly of our customers' engagement strategy aimed at further connecting and interacting with them on our various offerings with the aim to consolidate on the mutually beneficial relationship that has existed between us.
On this occasion, the FCMB partners MOD Group, a foremost education service provider, to present a premium education advisory service for good overseas education required by their customers.
This includes school fees remittance, loans to support payment of school fees, and other educational expenses such as travels and living expenses.
In the Western world, where we have the largest number of enrollment into the universities, 80% of the people who go to universities actually do this with educational loans, and there's none of such in Nigeria, which explains why a lot more people from Western world actually have access to education. This part, Nigeria is beginning to do this, and I'm glad, that we're part of this.
They're offering us 25% discount for students.
The Education Advisory Service, EAS, appears to be taken off on a sound footing, judging by the support from organizations, international schools and countries' representatives from Canada, UK, Ireland and Scotland.
You did not have to ask twice in a seminar for a Nigerian student to speak. Getting them to stop another matter.
They're available there in places like Ilorin, in Port Harcourt. And if you cannot go to those branches, go to our website, you put in your details in there, and we'll be able to contact you.
With value-added services from 11 FCMB Education Advisory Desks scattered across the country, the door to our rewarding and seamless overseas education may just be wide open.
Consumer, industrial goods and the banking sectors all tracked the all-share index and the market capitalization to new lows today as Nigeria's stock market resumes after the Democracy Day celebration. Let's hear more from Chimeze Obiwagu.
Thank you for joining us on Stock Market Report. Proceedings at the equities market today can be best described as dramatic because market was looking good from the beginning up until 12:30 p.m. when the tide changed. The banking stocks, together with other major stocks, were doing very well until desperate sellers sold down on GT Bank, Zenith, Nigerian Breweries and Dangote Cement, leading to 1.08% drop. As such, 3 out of the 5 major sectors ended up in the red. However, transaction volume and value were higher than what was recorded in previous sessions as investors churned out over 342 million shares worth 4.7 billion naira in 5,057 deals. Meanwhile, traders are not happy about this trend in the market as questions like who will salvage the market is being asked. Still, analysts believe there is light at the end of the tunnel in the near term, but only patient investors will reap the good fruit. And that was a stock market report. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwagu.
Thanks a lot, Chimezie. As for other major markets around the world, U.S. and European stocks made a rebound from steep losses earlier recorded in yesterday's session as concerns of a political crisis in Italy appears to be easing at the moment. But Asian markets closed lower, tracking the overnight sell-off by global equities. Let's see the figures for today. That's business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Gimba.